That's a wrap. We finished our session and gotta get. There's the man behind the curtain. Demetrius, can I get a? There he is.
Everybody.
This is this is what I aspire to at Westminster Studios. Someday. Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure.
One of the most exciting days of the year for me is when new partner admissions are announced. This week we're featuring a woman who I first met when she was an executive assistant at PwC, who then proceeded to move on from EA all the way up to partner. So let's go talk to Annie. Well, I am very excited to have with me Annie Bennett, transfer pricing tax partner. First of all, congratulations,
Thank you.
Annie. We're very excited to have you as a partner. I'd like to hear about your path to partner.
I graduated from William & Mary in 2001 with a double major in economics and government. I was only 20 years old though. So
Okay.
I decided to maybe slow it down a bit and take a break. And so I thought that I was probably going to go to law school. And so I was looking for an administrative job after I graduated. And my dad was an airline pilot, and so I got to fly first class for free. And after graduating, I had taken my last trip and was on my last non-rev flight. And I was in first class, and I sat next to a PwC partner and was talking to him about kind of my journey and, you know, that I wanted to kind of take an administrative job for a year. And he was very impressed that I had graduated from William & Mary in only 3 years with a double major, and gave me his card and said to give him a call and that he would help me get a job at PwC. And so I reached out to him and I ended up working for him.
Who is that partner?
Tim Anson.
So that is Tim Anson, our former international tax services leader,
Right.
who, as an aside, I'm gonna have him share
Great.
some comments on this to get his perspective as well.
Bought a house, you know, kind of got comfortable, was an EA for 3 years, and then I decided, okay, I really need to use this economics degree that I worked so hard for. I looked around to see what types of groups within PwC had that type of background, and there weren't that many. But I was lucky because there actually was a job opening as a paraprofessional in the transfer pricing practice in the national office where I'd been an EA for Tim. And so I went and I applied for that job. And I interviewed, kind of a brief interview, and, you know, I got offered the job pretty much right away. The relationships really were key, and reputation, because as an EA, you know, I kind of did as much as I possibly could. I didn't like to file, but I did as much as I possibly could and had a great reputation. So when I went down to apply for the transfer pricing position, I actually got an associate role instead of the paraprofessional role, because I had a few partners that called down and spoke on my behalf and helped me get the transfer pricing job as an associate. I worked in the downtown office for 10 years. I went to night school to get my credential. I got my MBA at George Washington University while I was working. It took me 3 years. It was quite a challenge. I got promoted to director also when I was downtown. I had a couple kids in between.
Wow, so you're a mom too?
Mom, 3 kids, yes.
So I made it to Boston. I'm here for 2 days for some internal training sessions with a bunch of my partners from the East Coast and New York. And need to find Tim Anson to get a little bit more insight on what he thinks about our newest partner, Annie Bennett. Go have a little conversation, shall we?
This is some 16, 17 years ago. Annie and I are on a plane. I've never met her. I'm heading back from Minneapolis to DC. bad weather, we get diverted to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, of all places, and we're stuck on the tarmac for like 3 hours, waiting for the weather to clear to get back to DC. And I'm sitting next to this really smart person, and I'm getting to know her because it's been 3 hours, and they bring pizza on the plane.
Well, hold on. They brought pizza on the plane?
They brought pizza only for the first class.
What kind of pizza?
Well, it was like, I don't know, it was like Domino's or something. It was good, though, sausage and mushrooms.
Do you know how many flights? I have flown like
Dude,
2 million miles. Nobody's ever brought pizza on a plane for me.
You got to travel with me a little more, okay?
All right, keep going.
So anyway, so we're talking, and I'm getting to know Annie, and she's this 21-year-old who's just graduated from William and Mary in 3 years, not 4, 3, really smart. And I'm going like, what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm just kind of waiting to see what I want to do as my career. I'm now a waitress at Olive Garden. Are you interested in PwC? What can I tell you about our firm? And she said, yeah, why don't you send me some information? So we followed up after that, sent her some information, and lo and behold, she didn't want to kind of dive into her career yet, so we hired her as my EA. So she was my EA, and all the while I'm knowing, okay, this person is destined for much bigger things than being my EA. And over time, we talked about it, and she transferred into transfer pricing because she was an econ major in college. And lo and behold, she's making partner. And it's just, I've told her along the way, Annie, you gotta stick it out. You gotta make it. You gotta keep our story alive. And it's been a great kind of dialogue that we've had over the years. And man, she made it, and I couldn't be happier for her.
So any advice, Tim, that you have for Annie as a new partner?
Well, I say, Annie, just keep doing what you're doing. You're very talented, hardworking, you care a lot. Just keep it up, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, okay? And
congratulations to our entire class of partners that will be admitted officially July 1.
Hear to that. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Deb. We got Mike Ers. We're getting ready to record our first podcast. Mike is episode 1. Mike Ers. Podcast number 1. That's a wrap. Mike Ers, Jeff Jacoby. Stay tuned. First week in July, Cross-Border Tax Talks. So when did you know, or did you know, Annie, when that you wanted to be a partner?
From the beginning.
Okay. Good for you. Me too.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's
that
great to hear.
That was the only path that I was on.
That was my goal as well.
Yep. PwC has been my home. I grew up here, and I just take a lot of pride in PwC. And that is what I always wanted to be as a PwC partner.
How do you describe how you are as a leader?
So I feel that I'm someone that the staff feel comfortable with. They always kind of come to me with their issues, whether it's a technical issue or a personal issue within the office. I just feel that I'm very open to the staff and that they're very open to me, and it develops like a great relationship among us.
So communication, open door,
right.
and transparency. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Take advantage of all of the opportunities that present themselves. Don't be afraid to be overwhelmed. Work with the people that are above you to figure out a way to make it work, but don't say no to things.
Annie Bennett, what a great story. Congratulations on well-deserved promotion of the partnership. I so look forward to you being one of my partners, and it's just been neat working with you and to see your path, over the last 17 years, I guess. Yeah. And I'm guessing that probably means that we have another 17 together. So Annie Bennett, transfer pricing partner, EA to partner, just an awesome story. Thank you very much for joining the Diamond Company Blog.
Thank you for having me.